How's the rap go about the with the Philly? I gotta find the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air lyrics for this intro.
Uh, West Philadelphia, born and raised. On the playground is where I spent most of my days. Something about b-ball, playing b-ball. I got one little fight, and then I got scared, and then my mom got scared.
Whistled for that cab, and when it came near, the license plate said fresh, and they were dicing there.
Flying first class, orange juice in a champagne glass. Is this what LA living like? Well, then this might be all right. I can't. I love that I sound like Ben Shapiro reciting WAP.
Like, exactly.
Well, is this like with which LA is living like? Oh, well, this might be the bee's knees.
Episode 372 of the TV Dudes, recorded February 16th, 2022. New to town. This week, we're talking about being new to town. You might be an ex-military drifter like Jack Reacher in Reacher on Prime. It might be a band of horny, violent, and stupid adventurers like Vox Machina in the Legend of Vox Machina, also on Prime. Or you might be West Philadelphia born and raised, but one little fight and your mom got scared and you wound up in Bel-Air, like Will Smith in Bel-Air on Peacock. Y'all thought I was going to say Fresh Prince, but it's not. It's Will Smith, not the Fresh Prince. Was he named Will Smith? I've never seen
Yes, no, his name is Will Smith. You didn't watch the original. That's right.
Normally, his name.
No, his
they
name
just
is Will
say
Smith.
Will, and they don't say his last name a lot.
His last
in
name
this
is
show,
Smith.
they say his name a lot, his full name a lot, so it comes across.
And it is
as
Will
weird.
Smith in the original too.
Yes,
Okay.
He is Will Smith.
But it's Will Smith
Plain
playing
Will
Will
Smith.
Smith, and here it's somebody else playing Will Smith.
Plain
Yeah.
Will Smith. Yes.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
now you got it.
But the important thing is that Will Smith is in Bel-Air.
Yeah, he is.
So all's right in the world.
And so is Carlton.
Yes.
And Uncle Phil?
Yes, who we've interviewed. He was in V Wars, the vampire show on Netflix a few years ago. This is a much better role for him.
Well, the previous Uncle Phil was Shredder on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You gotta start your career somewhere.
You gotta start somewhere, man.
I failed to have us introduce ourselves. I'm Randy.
I'm Les.
And I'm Nick. And raccoons are hardcore, man.
You might notice that Kyle is not in with us. He's not here this week.
That's what I said. Raccoons are hardcore.
But we're hoping that he'll be back next week because we're going to talk about a British show, and y'all know how Kyle loves British shows.
Honestly, what happened to Kyle is exactly what I thought would happen if a man picked up a wild raccoon.
Yeah, it met expectations.
All right, y'all want to talk about our TV diaries?
Sure.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
Les, why don't you kick us off this week?
All right. This week, I mean, my usual. I did 30 Rock and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I watched something called No Activity over on Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the story is on why this show is set up this way, but it feels like when you watch a show that is constricted somehow, like, you know, it's a really small cast or one location or something, and you can tell that it's not exactly a gimmick, but they did it to get the show made. Like either the amount of stuff we recognize for Pandemic, we're like, oh, you shot this in 2021, you can only have 3 people in a room at a time or whatever. No Activity is pairs of characters. So you've got like Tim Meadows and another guy who are cops that have been on a stakeout forever. And then they're staking out Jason Mantzoukas and Jesse Plemons, who have been waiting for a phone call from their cartel leader inside a shipping container forever. And then they've got like Amy Sedaris and a new girl who are their dispatchers. And like, it's always pairs of people. Eventually Mantzoukas gets replaced by Will Ferrell. It is a friggin' crazy cast of guest stars and shit that jump in.
Wait, when does Captain Holt and the rest show up?
Basically, I looked over at Lisa and was like, what I'm realizing here is that I just really want to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine again.
Yeah.
There's going to be a hole in our lives.
There's like 6 or 7 seasons of this, and they're pretty funny. I mean, like a lot of what feels like improv 2-person riffing, it either really works or doesn't from scene to scene. But overall, it was pretty cute. There's like 6 or 7 seasons of it, and the most recent one, because of Pandemic, is entirely animated.
Yeah, so this is this Adam McKay is involved in this.
Yes.
This is a CBS All Access show. And apparently it was based on an Australian series.
Yes, it definitely. I got the feeling that they were making some reference to that. They have one character that in one episode is like trying out for a play and does an Australian accent, and like the entire bit for the whole scene is everybody giving him shit about how bad it is, and it's clear that the man is Australian. Like you can tell he's dropping his American accent to do it, and they're all like, "Stop! That's ridiculous. You sound what is that German?"
Hey, that's like when I got that compliment for my English book that I did. This guy's really good. What a great narrator it is. His American accent's pretty good too. What the fuck? It's a Midwestern accent. It's not that fucking weird, you asshole.
Oh, you've almost got it down. I believe you, buddy.
Also, thank you for the 5 stars.
You're from Wisconsin, sure.
Son of a bitch.
Then, of course, the homework. Watch Speed, which I had not seen. I don't think since maybe seen it in the theater. And that's about it. Not a whole lot of TV watching this week. I rewatched Vacation Friends because it's hilarious, and everybody should go watch that movie.
Nick, what about you?
I finished off Rick and Morty, the latest season.
Fuck,
now
I
that
need
it's
to
up
watch Rick
on-
and Morty.
It's up on Hulu and it's on HBO. I thought it was HBO Max exclusive last year. I think it was, but now it's both on HBO and Hulu. I don't know what the rights fucking are with that, but
I feel like Rick and Morty has finally achieved full Venture Brothers status, where they've gone so long stopping me from watching new episodes that they broke the cycle, and I don't care.
I get that.
this season's also pretty solid. It ends on a big, like, they come back to the Empire of Ricks, whatever the fuck that is, the Citadel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrap up that storyline and Bird Person and a lot of other stuff. And they casually wrap it up in a way that, like, I know I see a bunch of people like, well, Rick and Morty lost their way of, like, some lazy writing. Like, no, it's intentionally, nah, fuck you people for trying to find some deeper meaning in this. Shut up. Like, here's the backstory. Yeah, Rick's, like, wife got killed or whatever, or maybe it didn't. It doesn't matter. That's not what this show is about. It's about making fun of the exact people who watched this show. I don't know. I appreciate it. I like it. Me and Les watched Down Periscope this
Okay.
last week, the Kelsey Grammer submarine movie, because we couldn't get enough after Crimson Tide.
Yes, we had to go watch the best sub movie.
So we need to go watch a man that can think like he has a tattoo on his dick.
And by strange circumstances,
You have the correct
we found
answer.
that man.
Les, I don't know what's the problem is. This still tastes like cream corn.
It's supposed to be ham.
Oh, that
Well,
would
that's
be
a
a problem then. And no one is getting
Y'all don't
any of
know.
these jokes because
Not a one, and everybody
Nope.
needs to go out
Nope.
and educate themselves.
that's
Down
your own
Periscope is
damn
a
fault for
comedy
not watching
classic.
Down Periscope.
It is the best thing Kelsey Grammer's ever done.
And if this doesn't sell you,
What?
they make Rob Schneider walk the plank. There you go.
It is
That's all-
it is okay, maybe not the best thing Kelsey Grammer's ever done, but it is absolutely the best thing Rob Schneider's ever been involved in.
Except for that
Okay, that's
small
a
role
low
in
bar.
Demolition Man, maybe.
Okay, Demolition Man. Yeah.
And then I watched Banished from the Heroes Party. I decided to live a quiet life in the countryside in my attempt to try and find the anime with the longest name possible.
They're long. I know there's longer. I've seen the manga. I know.
Well, I don't
there's,
want to.
like,
I don't want to hurt
paragraph
myself. I got to
long.
work my way up to the paragraph length ones.
It's still going, Randy. This is part of the title.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's very specific.
of
It's really
ellipses.
weird. Including your dialogue jumping in is also part of the title somehow.
part of the title. Yeah. I believe that.
Yeah, Randy's dialogue is written backwards and upside down because it's a response to the question.
I watched
Old
Zomboat,
paintings.
which is I think it's a New Zealand show. Maybe it's British.
Is
I
that
don't
like
know.
death? Is it like Deathbed? Is it a boat that's a zombie?
Oh no, it's during a.
Yes.
It's not that.
That's what I was
cool.
thinking. Like, tell me that this is a Maximum Overdrive kind of thing.
Nope. This is I guess it's in England, yeah, where there's a zombie apocalypse and these people get, you know how they drive on those boats, those like little slow ass boats in those channels. They kind of get away and go through the city in this slow ass moving boat. So the zombies that are slow walking can keep up with them and still like chase after them no matter how fast they go. Which is kind of a
That just
funny
seems
thing.
like bad planning.
Well, it's the only planning they have, and they seem to be surviving, which is unlike anyone else in this show. has a great twist on the end of it. I don't want to spoil it, but it has a great funny twist on the patient zero of what causes the zombie apocalypse. It's actually pretty funny and comes back and makes sense to a point. I'm like, oh, I get it. Okay.
Nick, I don't think you have to worry about spoiling Zomboat for anyone, except maybe Les. But I want to know what the twist is.
It's for not spoiling less.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Damn
watch
it.
Zomboat. There's an exclamation point in the name.
All right, Les. After you watch Zomboat, you need to tell me what the twist is.
These people are very British. Wow.
And then I watched Dracula Untold because I was trying to find, like, God, I know Morbius is gonna suck. Wouldn't it be? It's just too bad there isn't a vampire superhero movie that's good. And then I remembered, oh, wait a minute. No, that's the first one we did. That's fucking Blade. Why are we trying to do
Yeah.
this over and over again?
Yeah.
So in 2022, there's very few things that people say that are just like, I've never heard a human say that before. But I was getting oil change done on my car earlier this week, and the person working the counter just started in about how they'd just rewatched a bunch of MCU movies so that they would know what's going on because, quote, I'm so excited to see Morbius.
Oh, that's
Wow.
sad. Oh, that's
And
so sad.
I wanted to, I just stayed out of it, but I wanted to weigh in with like, you shouldn't be, don't.
Was it Jared Leto? Was he changing your oil?
It's right. I
He's
mean,
getting into
he's
another
an amazing
character.
actor, but I don't think he went this method on this.
He's also going to be
but-
playing one of the wrecking crew in the MCU, so he's getting into.
I also didn't want to explain that you can't possibly need to watch the 24 MCU movies. None of them are going to fucking matter to that movie.
No matter
and it
what
won't matter
Sony
back.
tells you.
Nothing. Yeah, that was like, you have, like, also don't care about this movie. Just don't. Sony
Look.
has delayed it 3 times, I think.
He's gonna accidentally watch better movies. Everybody wins.
It was like, well, at least you watched 24 other.
Let him have
At least you
hope,
watch
Les.
some good movies.
Let him have hope.
In chronological order before watching Morbius.
Yeah, it's important that you watch Captain Marvel, or else Morbius won't make any sense.
Maybe he's a scroll.
Okay. I jumped back on my rewatch of New Girl. I watched a couple more episodes of season 3. I binged through all of Star Trek Prodigy. I can't remember if either of you all watched all of Star Trek Prodigy or not.
Is that
I only
the
watched the
animated
first
one?
couple they dropped. That's the animated one.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
one with Janeway.
Mhm.
Oh no, I was horribly understood.
I did not stick with it.
So yeah, I didn't either. I watched the first 2. I was like, this is kiddie. I don't want to watch it. But my buddy Dave, who runs the Text Trek podcast with Fathery, they watch it. And Dave has weird taste on Star Trek. Like, he doesn't really like Lower Decks. He has very specific tastes. But he really liked Prodigy. He said he came around on it, even though he was not wowed by it at first. And so I'm like, okay. So I binged through it. It was only 7 more episodes of animated show, which is like, 20 minutes. And so there's a lot more Janeway as it goes on, and that helps a lot. But they also start doing more, like, they're introducing more Starfleet concepts to these kids as they go on. And it's got a pretty solid finale. By the time we get to the end of it, I'm like, you know what? This is pretty good. It's not as good as Lower Decks. It's not even the same ballpark. But I was pretty happy I wound up watching it. So I was surprised by that. I finished out season 5 of The Americans, and now I've got just season 6 to watch, which is really cool. I watched 3 episodes of Suspicion, which is the British crime show we're going to talk about next week on Apple Plus. I watched Star Trek Discovery that came back, and Star Trek Discovery, I have such a love-hate with it. I really love it when it's good. I love all the characters. I love the look of it. I love so much about it. But they inevitably are going to drop the ball and piss me off. And I know that going in. But I can't stop watching it. And then I watched Pam and Tommy, the most recent Pam and Tommy, which is one of my favorite shows to watch right now. It's really surprisingly good and makes me care about the emotional life of Pam and Tommy Lee, 2 people who I could not give a shit
I'm
about
telling
in
you
real
that
life.
the scariest thing in the world to me is watching Pam and Tommy and then watching like the news right now and knowing that in 10 or 15 years someone's going to make a biopic about Kanye and Kim and I'm going to watch the fuck out of it.
Oh God, I hope it doesn't end with a murder because man, Kanye Kim stuff is fucking
that's
scary.
pretty dark right now, man.
It's scary. Like I've seen people.
Is this how people are going to learn Pete Davidson really?
Who's gonna voice Kanye's penis? Kevin
nobody
Hart.
On my feed is joking about Kanye, but I see a lot of people talking about people joking about Kanye because apparently a lot of people are making jokes about and it is. I guess from the outside you look at it, it's crazy shit that he's doing.
No, that's a
I can
deeply
see-
sad, broken. Like
But
that dude needs help and won't get it.
It's not good for anyone. Yeah, like
His
it's
kids
bad
are
for
fucking
him.
watching this.
It's bad for him. It's bad for his kids. It's bad for Kim and Pete David. Like, people I don't give a shit about. I don't give a shit about Kanye or Kim Kardashian or Pete Davidson, but I don't want any of them to get murdered. And it really looks like it's going that way. And I really hope that somebody steps in who can get Kanye to fucking go get help.
I don't know who could possibly do that.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't either.
But yeah, I am glad for the people I'm seeing who are like, can we not at least not romanticize this? Like, this is not a dude trying to win his girl back. Like, this is fucked up.
It's fucked up shit.
Don't go do this shit.
You don't. This is not good. Yeah. And that's TV Diaries, is with a diversion over to talking about Kanye, which I did not expect.
Hey, Pam and Tommy, that series is going to be amazing when Hulu does it in 10 years.
I'm living in that 21st century, doing something mean to it. Do it better than anybody you ever seen. Do it. Screams from the haters, got a nice ring to it. I guess every superhero need his theme music. No one man should have all that power. The clock's ticking, I just count the hours. Stop tripping, I'm tripping off the power.
Just a reminder, you can support us by going over to patreon.com/tvdudes, throw us $1 an episode. In exchange, we get to keep up with our streaming services, pay for our hosting costs, and you get bonus content each week. This week, we're starting a mini marathon of the films of Jan de Bont, starting with Speed and ending next week with Twister.
A short departure.
I did say mini marathon.
In fairness, we're only watching the ones we want to watch.
Did he make any more movies, or was it just a 2-picture mic drop and like, I'm out? That's action, bitches.
No way he made more movies, right?
Right?
No,
Surely.
I gotta look.
I mean, I definitely wouldn't check, because then we can claim ignorance.
He's made 6 movies.
Did he make Speed 2?
He made Speed 2, sir. Oh no. Okay, so Speed, he burst onto the scene with Speed. Then he made Twister, which was weird but good in a way. Then he made Speed 2. Then he made The Haunting. Then he made Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life. And now he's directing something in 2020 called Boom and Topper Safari Hunters. Which, I think is animated.
Please be. Please
that's
be
a
animated.
fake movie that they're trying to make in an actual movie.
Yes, okay, this is...
Oh, man, I didn't realize the same director did Speed 2 and
the
it went
fake
that
movie
wrong.
that Dave Franco's trying to make in the Afterparty, or like what?
Yes.
That's
Y'all,
Do the voice, man.
I know this is more Patreon stuff, really. We'll talk about... We're going to talk about Dawn Bond, but I have to read you the synopsis from IMDb of Boom and Topper Safari Hunters. August 2020, Australia. 2 safari hunters are taking a lion. If the lion is taken in Bob's lair, Bob will kidnap Boom into a trap and be massacred. To save Boom, Topper must defeat Bob. Boom is saved, and the safari hunters will survive the dangerous tornado. That was written by Jim Abrahams, who I assume does not speak a lot of English.
Wait, is Bob the lion? I'm lost.
I don't know. That's the synopsis on IMDb.
Chasing a deadly tornado.
There's a quote here from Boom the Armadillo. Boom, we have to get the fuck out of here.
Classic quote.
Wow. Yeah.
I need a bigger boat. Hasta la vista, baby, and fucking, we need to get the fuck out of here.
We have to get the fuck out of here.
No, I'm sorry, it's Australian. We gotta get the fuck out of here.
Randy, it's 2 hours and 21 minutes long.
Oh my god! If it's streaming, we have to watch it.
This just gets better and better.
It's got 3 brothers in it: Gregory Mackey, Jim Mackey, and John Mackey. Bob's an alligator,
Wait. That
if
means
that helps.
animals are
you
on a
think Jan de
safari
Bont's
for
being held
other
hostage in
animals. That's
Australia?
another level of fucked up. That's horrifying.
Boom the armadillo, Topper the dinosaur, and Bob the alligator.
What the fuck is... Oh my god, what is happening?
There are only 4 cast members listed for this. The other cast member is guards.
It does seem to be. Well, it has a rating of 1 out of 10 stars.
I think that one is from Jim.
Oh my god, it looks so terrible. From the director of Darkwing Duck, the team behind Airplane, and the director of Twister.
What?
Guys, it's been fun, but I got to admit, it's a long con. This was the week Stranger Than Fan Fiction. I made an IMDb up.
Oh my god.
This obviously doesn't exist.
I'm sorry.
And this is another one I forgot about.
Randy, did you Did you say that synopsis was written by Jim Abrahams?
That's what it seems like. I feel like it's got to be something else. I don't know.
That can't be the same person. He co-wrote and directed Airplane, Top Secret, Ruthless People, Hot Shots,
What?
the Kentucky Fried Movie. That's who Jim Abrahams is.
That can't be. Did he have?
Does he have a child that does not speak?
Did he fall down real hard?
Gee, that's like...
It's like a Lex Luthor
man,
land
I
deal. Did
can't-
they have him sign on to this movie on his deathbed?
I have real good news for you guys. Boom and Topper does not seem to be streaming anywhere.
Oh, damn.
So
That's two different type of... That's like... I would love to see this movie Spike Lee and Michael Bay make. It would be a fucking disaster. But like these two are gonna make a fucking horror show of a collaborative movie.
yeah. So, whew. All right. Moving on from our Patreon, let's talk about this week's stuff, and let's start with The Legend of Vox Machina, which I know was highly anticipated. Was this huge Kickstarter. Then they wound up moving to Prime and doing more episodes. They brought in some guest cast. This is, for those who don't know, Critical Role, one of the most successful podcasts and YouTube shows and Twitch shows of basically people playing, voice actors playing D&D, essentially.
Yeah.
They have done several seasons. This is an adaptation of the first season into animation form, sort of adapted and streamlined and made into a thing.
Their first campaign, which was of the team, actually called Vox Machina.
Right.
Which is Latin for voice machine.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, they're voice
sure.
actors.
Sure.
That's the whole pun of it, which is like it just kind of sounds cool. I think is what the...
So I don't know if it's because I've been wanting a good D&D cartoon. Like this should be right up my alley, but instead I got increasingly agitated and annoyed by this show because it feels to me like it's a bunch of cliches. Oh, there's a dumb barbarian. There's a horny bard. There's a pair of sarcastic elf rangers. The mysterious gunslinger is honestly the most original part just because he uses guns, but basically he's a man with no name, Driss type character. Like, I've seen every one of these characters in every D&D campaign I've ever played. And
well, I mean, you're complaining that they made D&D characters.
But I mean, like that's a trope
That's
that we
baked in.
percentile roll to generate. I mean, like D&D characters are already tropes, right?
They weren't gonna make a better show out of the they have to stick with the characters they made. That's the premise. So it's not gonna be like you're gonna have to go with the dialogue and stuff like that, which I thought they made up for. Like Pike and the dumb. I tell you what, I like what's his name, Ford or whatever, Willingham as Grog. Like his voice is like, wow, he's really like someone in a D&D game putting on a voice.
You kept feeling like Grog kept forgetting his accent to me.
Yeah,
I assumed Randy would be annoyed by this because you wanted a good D&D show, and this looks like a good D&D show, and then they knocked all of the people out and voiced it with your dipshit friends playing actual D&D. Because the thing that struck me about it all was like me looking at Lisa and going, nope, that's exactly what we do. Nope, we would do that. Nope, we would do that. Every time I've ever find me a fulcrum, find you the fuck room. That's what I heard.
This may be why I don't like this may be why I don't listen to actual plays. I don't want to watch someone else's D&D campaign. There's a difference between playing D&D and watching someone else play D&D, and the second thing is fucking boring.
I didn't think I had no anticipation about this. I don't give a shit about Critical Role. I don't listen to podcasts really. And I don't have any love for this. I didn't back the Kickstarter. And honestly, after our last few forays in animation and fantasy, I kind of assumed I was done on almost both fronts. And was really surprised how much I enjoyed watching what was just basically my D&D group fucking around. And I was surprised how quickly we tore through it. I kept finishing an episode and being like, no, I like that. If there was something else to do right now, I would do that. But yeah, we'll watch another one. Like I never fell fully in love with it, but I never stopped watching it. We just tore through all, 9.
I disliked it and I kept watching it.
Well, I am somewhat similar. I watched some of it. I am not like a bunch of my D&D group are big into Critical Role, so they reference it and watch it a lot. I watched some of the second campaign with the Mighty Nine, I think was their group, and I watched a couple of it, but I kind of dropped off because Not because it wasn't entertaining, but because there's so long in between games and it's all run live.
Mhm.
And you get to that point of like when you're playing a D&D game and they're all discussing on what the fuck to do, and you're checking your phone, and you're like, and so they're like, hey, pay attention. Like, well, then make a fucking decision, you asshole. And this is like that without all the discussion and the roles taken out of it. The doors are their main enemy in the show, it seems like.
Yeah.
Almost. Damn. I've almost got shit. Oh, wait, I've got it now. Fuck, shit, fuck. It's not a door. It's a thing of evil.
Their lockpick stealth guy can't even get this door open. And it's like, oh, he rolled a 1 or something.
Yeah.
The backroom team.
This is not the villain for this adventure. You just fucking crit failed that roll. Yeah.
Up until the DM takes mercy on them and opens the door, but even then they have the guard pour piss on them. So it's like, and you have to really like. I think it's because me and Les like Legends of Tomorrow that this works.
Yes, that's 100% what this is. It's I want something that takes D&D a little more serious. Although I want something that doesn't feel like
that's never happening.
I liked when they used the blue dragon. They got that all right. That was kind of cool. But I'm like, you're doing vampires. Vampires are boring. Like, do me something else.
Yeah.
Randy, did you want something that takes D&D seriously? Then you're gonna get Wheel of Time or fucking. That's why, like, this is what Disenchanted tried to do, and really is like actually more succeeding than Disenchanted did.
I want this animation style applied to other shit.
Really?
Other than the gunfighter dude who looks straight out of a fucking anime. Like, I'm sorry, that is the one dude in your group who just won't play D&D and just insists on having a gun. And like everybody's got that, like, well, I'm just gonna play Cyberpunk and I don't care. I'm like, fine, artificer, fucking dick.
We'll give you steampunk. We'll meet you halfway. That's the one complaint I have, is that that after the opening storyline, the next main story, like a lot of the episodes, like I think so far 4 or 5 are based off of Percival, the gunslinger.
It's fucking all of them. They do the Blue Dragon opening, and then
they go to that town, and it's just Percy's bullshit. They're going to spend the rest of the 9 episodes on this fucking vampire shit. Yeah. Yeah, no, I hate that they picked vampires. I know those exist in D&D, but damn, come on now.
That was a mistake, because in my opinion, I don't know, maybe that it's different I haven't seen the first campaign. Maybe it was a bigger hit there in the actual campaign. I find Percy's character to be so boring, and he screams to me, oh, this is the douchebag in D&D I don't want to play with.
Yeah.
That made his emo character that, oh, he's a long lost son.
With your big,
or
evil, unfun backstory, like nobody can go have any fun. It's the saddest thing ever. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the least fun out of them, and they centered the story around him for so much of it. I'm like, that's the only real big tactical error I feel is in the show, because the animation is great.
That said, the most fun character is Scanlan, who will fuck anything that moves and is sarcastic.
Anything.
And I fucking hate that character too. I hate him so much.
Skeleton!
I hate Scanlan. That's the player who shows up and is life of the party the whole time, and the DM finally kills the whole party because they didn't want to play with him anymore. I hate that character so much. And when they try to make it serious, like he's doing his like Patton Oswalt and Justified, standing up to the bad guy, getting beat up, and we're supposed to care, and I'm like, no, fucking kill Scanlan. Please kill him. Please fucking kill him. Like I
no,
hate
he's got
that
a
character.
great outline.
Oh God.
Where what a great exit of, like, I would like anyone to like jump off and on a middle finger hologram, and that's how I make my exit.
People need to do obscene gestures with Mage Hand more often. Full stop. It's just, I think we're underusing Mage Hand. I really enjoy the animation style of this. Was my main thing, and I kept catching myself watching it, wishing that I was watching the 80s D&D show just done like this. I wanted Venger to run out, and like that's not going to be tonally the same show. Like that's got real stories and shit.
That's what I think was where we get trapped in the why DC gets fucked by this all the time too, is that if you try and make this not a joke show, then you're stuck there describing why do they have a bag of holding? How does that work? Why does the elf guy have a dagger that can reappear to him? You're stuck explaining all the stuff that most people don't need explained.
I don't think that's true anymore. I don't think that's true. I think there's a
it's not, but they still would do it if it wasn't a comedy.
That's the thing. You don't need to do it, but I think they would start doing it. It would slow the show down.
I don't know. There's a big enough niche now who knows D&D and knows all those inside jokes that I think that someone might actually make that show.
You can't take too serious a show when you can take anything out of a bag of holding, or someone can show up with a 2020 roll and as a fucking light spectrum and defeat a whole army of undead and take the show seriously. There's no, like, this is as best as this show is gonna get, and I think it'll get better because they're gonna stop focusing so much on this stupid Percy storyline.
Every once in a while, the like, we can swear in modern language fully breaks me out of it. Like, that's the only, I don't know quite how to fix that.
Yep.
But after a while, like, as funny as it is to have somebody go like, get the fuck out or whatever in a medieval situation, every once in a while it would go too far. And I don't know how they could mitigate that, but without literally taking jokes out.
Here's the thing. I have read a ton of great D&D comics. John Rogers, who did Leverage and all that stuff, wrote a D&D comic for like 18, 20 issues. That guy could do an animated series that was fun, but not stupid. And I feel like this is stupid more than fun. I really feel like there's a way to get this better. And I don't think this is what it was always going to be. This is what they wanted it to be.
Yeah, this is critical. This is exactly a Critical Role show.
This is successful for who it wants to be. It is not. It's not what I am the audience for a D&D cartoon, but I'm not the audience for this D&D cartoon.
Yeah, you're looking for a different thing then, of like, you're looking for a thing that's not based off a D&D game that's actually written out.
Yeah, no.
Like, you're looking for something that uses elements of a D&D world?
Yes. That's what I want. I don't need it to represent a D&D game. I've got, like I said, I don't want to watch somebody play D&D.
You just want to use some Beholder stuff and have that in there on an actual story about something else. I get
sure.
that.
Yeah, why not?
And Lord of the Rings is going to try and do that and fucking fail you.
I love that Randy like settled in for an Avengers movie and we handed him a Legends episode.
Yes, what the fuck, man? No, I didn't. I knew it was. I actually, to be honest, I hated this less than I expected to. I expected to, after the trailers, I expected to despise this thing. And I watched enough of it where I'm like, there's bits and pieces of it. I'm like, I like this. I watched 9 episodes and I wouldn't have done it if I hated it. I probably won't watch the rest of it, but
there's a lot of like, because it's 2D animated, I'm like, oh, a 2D animated and 2D animated. It's been so long since I've seen an action show and an adult show that really does it. Although I do feel like they go a little far with the gore sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have to kill absolutely everyone around Vox Machina. Let's like make them look somewhat competent at saving people. Like, but
it does. Okay, but between the gore and the language, it does occasionally feel like the 13-year-olds think they're getting away with something, which I also don't like.
It just makes it feel like D&D to me.
The way it's written, I'm like, yeah, I would watch this. If it was animated, if it was live action, I would also watch this. That would be Legends. I would watch that. If it was animated 3D, I probably would not. Because I hate it. I hate 3D so much. But I'm like, what would I watch 3D animated? I'm like, Lower Decks maybe is funny enough. But even then, I still feel like that it wouldn't sell some of the jokes in the 3D, some of it. I hate just, anytime I can get it out there of like, producers, don't fund 3D animation in television ever again, please.
Flatten it. I don't care if you animate it in the computer, flatten it.
I think you've lost that battle, Nick. I think
I've lost it so bad.
The success of Rebels and Bad Batch and Prodigy have pretty much ended.
The only compromise now is spending millions of dollars on it and making Arcane, and like that's about it. Or making a Borderlands show of like, well, it's kind of like a cartoon comes to life.
I don't really know what you're thinking when you're looking at a gnome like me. Oh, but I can show you something special. Whoa! You ladies and you ladies can't see. Got a twinkle in my eye. That's right. Hit the lights and you'll find a surprise. 'Cause there is something underneath my drawers. Come on, let your fingers explore. Put on my motherfucking beats. I love. Put on my motherfucking beats.
All right, let's divert over to the other Prime show for the week, and that is Reacher. Have either of y'all read the Reacher novel?
I've not.
Me neither.
All I really knew about it was that Tom Cruise was a gross miscasting. Just if you even glanced at the description of the character.
So have you read any of Greg Rucka's novels, like his Atticus Kodiak, his Bodyguard novels?
No, I've only read Rucka's comics.
This feels like it is. This is very much the airport novel genre. This is something you pick up, get on the plane, read it in an hour and a half, and then throw it at the next airport for someone else to get. Like it's not high art. It's basically procedural. But I kind of dug it as a pure distillation of that.
I kind of love this. It's kind of kung fu. It's kind of Joe R. Lansdale meets an A-Team episode.
Yeah.
He's gonna fuck up a Florida land deal, that kind of shit. Like the crimes are always like people who, it's definitely wrong, but there's no one to go to get help or whatever. And then this, if you can find him and he wanders through your town, you can have several people killed by Jack Reacher.
This giant slab of beef will take care of your problems.
Yeah. There is, so Michael Rosenbaum, that was Lex on Smallville, he runs a podcast called Inside of You, where they do long form interviews about mental health and stuff with various people. And he has a really great interview with Alan Richardson about the last few years of that dude's life. He had a bipolar diagnosis and a suicide attempt.
Oh, wow.
And in the best professional year he'd had so far. So it was a very like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Yeah. I just crushed it and lost it. I mean, literally just lost his shit. The interview's crazy when he's talking about like,
wow,
making a suicide and that like he would not have survived it were he not in the shape he's in, because he had to pull himself. He'd already done it and he had to pull himself back out of having hung himself.
Oh,
he's like, if I weren't in the shape I'm in, I could not have done that. I would have died. It was a crazy interview. It's really great. And he talks extensively about mental health and such.
Well, I think they also, he's great in this role. And I think they surrounded him with a fantastic supporting cast. Nick, what did you think of this? We haven't heard what you thought.
This is I remember this guy from Hawk.
Yep.
As in Titans, and he's also the main character in Blood Drive, so he's got my support there.
Oh shit! Really?
Oh shit! I didn't know he was
the main character in Blood Drive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now you kind of want to watch it, don't you?
I do.
If someone wants to the patron wants to make us watch Blood Drive, that's a good use of Patreon money. I don't know if Blood Drive's still streaming anywhere, but I'm
Prime, baby.
I would be happy.
I bought it, so maybe I can like have a special purchase. I don't know how that works in Prime.
He was in Blue Mountain State. This dad.
Yeah.
For the longest time I thought he was a terrible actor because of his work on Titans, and I'm like, oh no, Hawk's a terrible fucking character.
It's just the writing on Titans.
And Titans is a horribly written show.
And I know he had a horrible time being a Ninja Turtle, but I just assumed you knew him because of his at least tangential connection to the Ninja Turtle universe, Nick.
I don't know anyone who was in those Michael Bay suits.
Yeah.
That's not right to me.
There's an interview with him where he just goes off about like how fucking terrible that shoot was.
I'm sure it was. Oh no, a shoot Michael Bay directed was uncomfortable in some way. Oh no, that was a Michael Bay produced one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember who fucking hack directed that. Anyway, this show is actually pretty good. His acting as Jack Reacher, he brings something different to the giant man for justice role. He's very smart, but not in a like Sherlock way of like, oh, I'm smart, but I'm also kind of walk through any problem I come across.
They really do, and I think this is probably the novel does this too. They write this in a way that they want the readers to feel smart or the viewers to feel smart. Like, I figured it out before the main character. Like, he mentions the animal feed in every episode.
Yes.
So it's
that's a lot of fucking animal feed.
It's like, but they want to highlight it so that you're like, I knew there was something with the animal feed. Well, yeah, because he mentioned every episode.
No shit. It's a beach read. Yeah.
The only thing they mention more than the animal feed is how fucking big this
yes
guy is.
Oh, you can tell the chip on the shoulder the producers have about that.
Yeah.
And in that Inside, you think Richard talks about the casting process and how obvious it was that like they weren't going to do that again. They had him like, you had to send in like a measuring tape photo of yourself where they could see the tape from the tip of your head down here, because like no bullshitting your weight or height. So he's like 6'5" at like 230 or 5 or 240.
Yeah.
The overcorrection is actually kind of cool too, because they're so self-conscious about how big, like they want everyone to mention how big he is, but also it makes sense because this guy is so fucking big and intimidating that it's the only thing anyone can notice when he walks into any room.
Yeah.
I love that there can be no stealth. Like he can't be the detective that just
There's no stakeouts in this show.
Yeah.
There's no like,
and he can't drift through the background. Sometimes in detective
Yeah.
shows, like the real cops show up and then like our guy, the savant, drifts to the back and just observes. And like Reacher can't blend in anywhere. Like
No.
if he's observing, it's just because he's a big quiet mountain.
Yeah. Well, he can camouflage himself and kick the shit out of a few dudes who came to kill him. That's about it.
As I understand it, one of the running gags in the book is that every single book at some point there's going to be a character says a ton of shit to Reacher and then Reacher says nothing. Like it's just like a running gag, and that's
why he said nothing for the first like 20 minutes of the show.
I feel like they really leaned into it, and it was like, I don't want to say a brave choice, but like I feel like a lot of shows would have chickened out and tried to make him slicker than he is.
Yeah,
and he's just a big weird dude.
Yeah,
the way he plays them is interesting because it's like he doesn't have he understands social interaction, but also doesn't really have time for.
He's polite. He just doesn't give a fuck.
He understands that he shouldn't break his zip ties to make people uncomfortable. But then when it's time to take them off, he just rips them apart and thinks like, okay, that's fine now. Like, no, now you've made everyone afraid of you no matter how well you're tied up, dude.
You tried to be nice about it, but you still scared everybody, dude.
you talk about the way he plays him. There's been a couple people. There's been enough of this where I think it might be a thing. There's been several pieces about, is Reacher on the spectrum? Is he autistic? And it kind of works. Like you can kind of see it.
I'm not sure if it's intentional, but there is a point where like when he's talking to people, I can't tell if it's because he doesn't respect them or because he dismisses them, but he doesn't make eye contact with a lot of the people he's about to beat up.
Yeah.
You fellers are you're gonna wish you hadn't done this in about 3 minutes, and like he's just looking forward as he's pissing. Like, not looking at anybody.
No, you're right. You can always tell the people he actually values and who he's about to kick the fuck out of.
Yeah. Well, and I love the relationships they develop here between him and the detective from iZombie, who is great here.
Yes, yeah, Babineau. It's not his name here, but...
It takes a while for them to get to a point of them liking each other. Like, they legitimately dislike each other at first. And then the whole thing, the thing with the woman that they're like, it's pretty obvious they've got chemistry from early on, but I wasn't sure if they were going to go to a romantic direction or not. And they don't set it up as like, this is the great love of his life. And the other thing I will say, again, they want the viewers to feel smart. There was no part of me that wasn't pretty sure that the FBI guy was dirty. Like there was something about the way they shot every scene.
Dude, I don't know what it was either, what tipped their hand on that, but I was like,
it had to be
why
deliberate.
Do I immediately feel like this guy is going to betray them?
It had to be deliberate. If they had to have done something subtle, because every time I was like, this guy's dirty. There's something
about
your
weak link there, man.
Yeah.
It was something about his dialogue or the way they shot him or something, but I was like, why do I immediately suspect this person?
Yeah.
And the woman, I like her, except for the fact that like they do this thing of like where they break into her house and it's it's understandably to be afraid. I'm not afraid, I'm pissed off. I'm a single independent woman.
Yeah.
And I don't need anyone to help me. And I'm like, okay, how long until she's captured?
Yeah, that's
5 minutes.
They flip that switch like 3 times. She's like, I don't need anybody. Oh shit, I'm in jail. Oh shit, I'm tied to a pipe. Oh shit.
Yeah.
I love that because it shows that in a writer's room, there was a bunch of dudes that realized that their main female lead got kidnapped a bunch.
Yeah.
And instead of rewriting anything, they went, what if we went back and gave her some dialogue about how tough she is before she gets captured?
Yeah.
She just calls it out.
For it.
Yeah.
That'll fix it.
I'm glad that, so I believe this got another season already.
Or
they're going to do another one. And this was an adaptation directly of one book. I would like to see this done again. I say this with every fucking series, 1 or 2 episodes shorter. This was not that complicated of a mystery. You can compress this.
It definitely feels like this was a movie stretched out into a very long.
It's got a Sunday. I mean, it is so much better than this, but it has that fun Sunday afternoon Lorenzo Lamas bandit movie kind of vibe.
Yes, it does.
It's kind of what I wanted out of Hap and Leonard, frankly.
Yeah.
Hap and Leonard would have been smarter, but this is more fun.
Yeah. This is like just a little bit dumber. Just like Randy, I'm like, I liked this more though. But it's kind of like Vox Machina where there's some dumb baked into this premise because it's an airport novel.
Yeah.
Nobody's mom calls them by their last name.
Yeah,
that's weird.
This kid is like 15 years old and his mom calls him Reacher.
He has a brother who's also named Reacher.
That isn't confusing for the entire Reacher family?
At first, I thought,
Right.
I was like, okay, so it must be because he reminds her of the late dad that's died, right? And then the dad
No,
should up.
Dad
and like, he's
Reacher
very much
standing
alive,
right there.
So I don't know
Mom
what the
Reacher
fuck is
calls
happening
son
here.
Reacher. Except your brother Joe.
And then but he doesn't call they all call the other one Joe, and it's like,
Yeah,
why are
but
you
he's called Reacher.
dehumanizing or depersonalizing the others? This is so weird, and
Yeah.
it's such
Yeah.
a thing that works in a novel that does not work in a TV show.
Yeah,
It's got
yeah,
that
it's
Stephen
very
King
weird.
capital letter kind of thing of like, oh, this works in your novel, but it sounds tinnier.
And like you were saying,
Yeah.
Randy, with the animal feed thing, that's definitely something they put in every chapter of the novel,
Yes.
of
to
like
make
so that
sure
the reader can keep
Yep.
up.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, this is the stuff that is gonna be here in no matter what they do with this series, this is gonna be here, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to accept it because there's this like that's just the part and parcel.
This isn't a novel, and it's not a weekly TV show. We're gonna binge the whole thing. You don't have to keep reminding us.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll get better in the next season with that. Although
Yeah.
I doubt they'll shorten the season, but maybe they'll make the mystery a little bit bigger or something to where it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like that the sheriff that takes over the department.
Yeah.
I do like that Boss Hogg took time out of his busy schedule chasing those Duke boys.
Yeah.
He shows up and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What show are you from?
That's all the
Yeah.
shit that this reminds me of that made me happy to keep watching it. Also, like you mentioned in all of Richton's roles prior, like I've always liked this guy and felt frustrated that like, man, you are doing the Lord's work, but unfortunately it's in Blue Mountain State.
Yeah.
Or like you are bringing 1,000% to work every day, but unfortunately it's in a fucking hawk costume, and the storyline they're going to make you do is so stupid dark.
Yeah.
And like realizing that like, oh, fucking awesome, you can finally like Reacher just feels like one of those things. If you pick that book up and you had this actor in your head, like obviously Richton's got to be on the list. That guy's huge.
Yeah. But it serves him well. Like
But yeah, I feel like he actually plays it well.
Yeah, I
was
agree.
afraid he'd be too pretty for it, honestly.
I want to know if that scepter he's holding with the fucking diamond at the end of it, like some sort of monarchy Bond villain. I want to know if that's in the novel, because I'm like, and it shows up later as a murder weapon. I'm like, what a conspicuous.
You can see the facets in the like. Shit.
Kind of looks like a diamond, huh? Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I about died. I don't know that
Although
that's
I
how
like
forensics
that
work.
Guillermo's moonlighting as the.
Oh god.
Yeah, that was.
We didn't
what
even
a
talk
weird
about
bit of
Guillermo.
casting. Yeah, why?
Oh, he's so perfect in it though. He adds so much weird
You can tell he's
humor.
the small town coroner that has never had to deal with a murder in his life, and now has to deal with like 8 of them.
I'm just boggled. I've seen that guy in a few things now, and maybe I know things are made out of sequence, but how did he decide this was the project I wanted to do? Like, there should have been someone who was a Guillermo type. It shouldn't have been him.
The actual Guillermo. Yeah.
Yeah, someone should have said, we want the guy that's like that one on What We Did in the Shadows, and then he shows up later like, no, we didn't want to pay money for that guy. We wanted someone like him.
It's kind of like when you read in the actual script for Big Lebowski, it opens with that narration, and it says in the script, a Sam Elliott type.
Yeah. And you're like, how did they actually get this? Yeah. Yeah. This is, yeah. All right. Let's talk about Bel-Air, the serious dramatic remake of Fresh Prince over on
Jeez, this is a
Peacock.
weird fucking week.
Nick,
This is a
earlier
weird
when
week.
you mentioned that like once you start taking shit seriously, then you got to start taking shit seriously. Like if you're gonna, we're gonna start explaining that, then you got to explain the bag of holding.
I call it the Buffy body syndrome.
Yeah.
Which is, there's that episode in Buffy that's actually one of the best episodes in Buffy, which is
Mhm.
The Body, where
Mhm.
her mom dies.
Yeah.
And then the show kind of can't get its groove back after that. Because once you take one element of it very seriously, like an actual death of a main character, suddenly you have to take a lot more of the stuff seriously and question, where the fuck is Buffy getting her money?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, so Joyce didn't save as much money, they're going to lose the house in the next season? Wait, how is Buffy going to go to work?
And then she's got to get a goddamn job.
Out?
Yeah, it starts making stuff weird. And that's what I thought I was going to get out of this. I figured, we've all seen the fake trailer that was made, that got this made. A dude made a fake trailer.
That was the question I had. I did not see this. So what is the fake trailer?
So there's a 3-minute fake trailer that this guy made. And it's very nicely made. I'm sure he spent quite a bit of money on it. It's well acted. It had to be during the Meek Mill Drake shit because everybody's got a free Meek shirt on. Weirdly. But they just basically go through the song. and they play through the premise. It's different actors. And in that, because they've only got like 3 minutes, they really only focus on like, if you take seriously the danger at the basketball court and try to understand why your mom would actually send you across country. Like purely that bit. Just that bit of the
It's
song,
kind of
right?
basically like, is making that premise of like how dark that part of the premise actually is.
What I didn't anticipate was in the real show of it, how much I enjoyed that fallout that I would have thought broke most shows. Because like, okay, so you had a kid who got in some trouble on the basketball court and his friend had a gun. Like I saw how all that can make sense. And then your mom and the person they piss off, they do the same basketball off the guy's face thing in the fake trailer. The guy you piss off isn't going to let it go, and he's just going to find you in the next month, and your mom is worried that you're just going to get shot in the next month.
And
at
she's
some
right.
point,
Like,
right? And
that
she's
was
fucking
100%
right.
going to happen. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what would have been the trailer, but in the show, he basically says, "You're fucking gone."
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
They
you
drive it
pointed a
home
gun
better.
at me, you're toast.
They drive it home better in the show, I think, and so like it made sense in it. But then once he gets to Bel-Air, I was so shocked at how much I enjoyed the taking seriously fallout on everybody else. Like, if Carlton's going to be the super nerdy black cousin that has lost touch with his roots or whatever, which is part of Carlton's comedy character, but you don't ever go into like loss of black identity. That's not funny.
Yeah.
And so, but they go here. Like, so here I was like, oh shit, of course that's what is really at the root of Carlton. You just can't say that in a sitcom, but that's clearly what the Carlton was all about.
Yeah.
I think this show is all about making you feel bad for laughing at the previous show.
A little bit.
How dare you? This is not a funny premise.
I love the undercut of whatever the fuck Uncle Phil did to make that case just go away. I love the implication that, like, I'm not saying it's fully illegal, but I'm about to run for DA.
It's shady.
And it's a little shady. And like, it's all, you know, they're not trying to make me act like, oh my God, he ruined his life for his sister or for his wife's sister's kid or whatever. But like, I did a little thing that this was the wrong year to do.
Yeah.
Like
Well, also it explains why they did that later, of like, the parents, they don't outright say it, but they heavily imply that when Will's dad left them, that they had an opportunity to help and didn't.
Yeah.
So they're guilty about it from previous. Yeah.
And now they felt guilty about it, and now they have another opportunity, and they can't let this one slip by.
But also, they're doing some interesting with celebrity culture and what it's like to be rich and black in America and in LA. This is very different than what would have been in the 90s, because the girl who's the influencer and Hillary, like that character, it was completely original. Right? She wasn't in the Fresh Prince, right?
Yeah, no. She's the older sister.
Hillary's in Fresh Prince, yeah.
She's in there.
She
Holy
just wasn't
shit, really?
an influencer or anything.
Okay, because
she's a total party girl. Like, she's a completely useless daddy's money party girl.
Okay.
And so here she's like an influencer. Her mom doesn't take her seriously, but she is big deal here.
Yeah, I thought her story is actually more interesting than almost anything else in the show to me. I really found her whole thing to be like the question of like, well, do I want to change who I am and give up on being an influencer so I can actually be in this, this magazine, which is going to be a real career? And the difference between what her mom's generation and what her generation thinks of as a job and all that stuff. Like, there's depth that did not need to be here. That is here.
It's surprisingly compelling. I by the end of the first episode, I was like, okay, when's the College Humor logo going to come up at the end of this sketch?
Yeah,
it felt like we were going beat by beat through the song.
Yeah.
But then the Hillary stuff, the mom being from Philly and kind of like relating to Will, Uncle Phil really trying to get into like Will actually after that first episode, after being a fucking dickhead and like actually when he starts to actually try, he really wins you over to like, wow, I'm rooting for you, kid.
They cast a great kid to be a young Will Smith for me.
Yeah.
He's got that same jokey energy and moves to me.
Casting was very good on this.
Yeah, it was.
No, the casting was great because you need a kid that has gonna make a mistake in the first episode, like that's just fucking stupid. Like how do you think this basketball game between a drug dealer and his friend with a gun was gonna go? And I was like, oh, they're kicking him to death. I'm like, maybe you should just let him kick him to death because pointing a gun at this drug dealer is not gonna solve any of your problems.
Yeah.
And after that first episode, he starts to adjust and Carlton starts to become like a fucking villain.
Oh, Carlton's got some like Iago Shakespeare level villain going if he doesn't, and the parents are completely not seeing it at the level it is. Like they should be worried about Carlton.
That was the question I was going to ask you guys, because
They're
Carlton
more worried about Hillary.
Here's what I know about Carlton. I know about Carlton doing the Carlton. That's it. That's all I know about him. And
He's
so
got his shit together more or less in the original.
I assumed he was like a goofy dude who was Will Smith's best friend.
No, he's a goofy dude.
In the show, he's kind of like him and Will have a frenemy type of relationship. Of there's a lot of like Carlton, roses are red, violets are blue. Carlton, I'm black. How about you? Like there's a whole like, are you black enough? Carlton is where a lot of the jokes between them comes up.
Yeah.
Okay. But here, Carlton's just like a psychopath.
And there's also like the undercurrent in the original, that like Carlton was being Carlton and succeeding at it. Like he had it on lock. He's going to go to whatever Ivy League school. Everything's going fine. I know how to navigate my world. And then this kid from Philly shows up and is like, your world's fucking stupid and bullshit, and just disrupts it.
Yeah.
And then also has a little bit of a like, fuck, you're the cool guy that I thought I was. Shit.
Yeah.
And again, when you take all of this seriously, you end up with a Xanax snorting fucking Shakespeare villain.
Yes.
Dude, when he did that line of Xanax, and I was like, oh shit, Carlton's for real. Fuck.
Yeah.
Also, ask him for anything right now. There is no way Carlton refuses you or gets mad.
Because like there's a level of like the parents definitely like, because when the drugs end up in Will's bag in that one episode and then they like, okay, is it yours? And they ask him a couple times, but then they eventually go, okay, yeah, we believe you. Then they ask Carlton, but they don't quite believe him.
Yeah.
The mom has a like, if we find out you were involved in this.
Because it's like, okay, what about your white friend that we hate, obviously? Because there was that, like, we don't like your friend there, and it's obviously that we haven't liked him for a while.
Yeah.
Was it Will keeps calling him Chad? You mean Connor, whatever.
Whatever
I love
white
that he
bread
calls
maybe he has.
Jeffrey calls him Idris. I'm like, hey, ease up, Idris.
One of the great things about this casting of the guy that playing Will is that this kid you could want to punch him because he is having a great life. Like, yes, he doesn't get to play basketball in Philly anymore, and yeah, he had to leave one of his friends behind, but he gets he's living the life now, man. He's got
the golden ticket he's been handed after what would be the end of his life back in Philly.
Yeah.
Dude, you hit the jackpot. You gotta make the best out of this. And his culture shock should be annoying of like, just suck it up, you little bitch.
But it works. It works because you're like, you feel for him, yeah.
Well, and he knows
Carlton
he's going to get Trey shot
other
back
kid
in
are
Philly.
like fucking with him. Yeah, and his
For
friend
that whole first episode, he knows he's going to get his friend shot.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
Like I kept wanting to scream at the screen to like tell your Uncle Phil why that you're not trying to run away from home and go call Jazz because you don't like it in Philly. You abandoned your friend who's going to die for you.
Yeah.
And when the friend does get shot, he's like, I feel like this is my fault. And I'm like, well, because it is. But
it is your fault. It's 100% your fault. Yeah.
I mean, that is why you feel like that.
I mean, it's the dude who threw the basketball's fault, but it's your fault too.
It's your fault for getting into this in the first place. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was surprised. The drug dealer looked like he was about to cut them that $2,000, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
If the basketball hadn't hit him, I really think that dude was about to just.
Oh yeah, he wasn't happy about it, but he was like, "Yeah, fuck." I mean,
no, whatever. You shame my boy. That's fine.
He was surrounded by other people who just watched the thing happen, and so he would have lost face.
I guess he didn't want to lose face.
He looks like the cheapskate. Yeah,
but he probably still would have fucked with him a couple weeks later.
Oh, he probably was still fucking with us. Yeah, like there was a no-win situation there. But yeah, the thing is, like, Will makes some really dumb mistakes early on. Like that whole thing of like he basically gets Trey shot. And he causes this whole situation over this dumb pride that makes no sense.
Because he's like, I got to do what I got to do. And I'm like, well, you're going to fuck up your scholarship and get shot. So
And then going to Bel-Air, he should be like, oh, I hit the jackpot. This is great. I'm just going to enjoy myself. And he can't really. So none of this should work, but it's because of the performance that you're like, no, I get where this kid's coming from. They're bringing that shade of like, oh, yeah, I understand why this is a thing where even though we're all like, no, this is great for you. This worked out great for you, dude. That you're like, no, I understand why he's doing this. Yeah.
Yeah.
The writing is a level of smart that I did not expect. They have Aunt Viv be the one that really comes to him.
Yeah.
That says.
That's like, oh no, I felt that too when I first moved here. Yeah. How did I hold on to my Philliness?
No, I first came here and I get it. You don't want to change. You don't have to change who you are, but you do have to adapt and not be a little like you
Yeah.
have to learn to work things to your advantage and change the things that you are comfortable with changing, because this pride you're going with right now is gonna fuck you up. It almost got you killed in Philly, and it will fuck you up here too.
Yep.
And I like that Carlton's worst fear, he makes it come true.
Mm-hmm.
Because he fucks up so bad, and then they have Will go to Will's basketball game, which also big fuck up there. They should have gone to the lacrosse game for the first half and then ended on the basketball game, because no one's leaving a basketball game to go watch a lacrosse game.
No, it's never happened in history.
I hate sports in general, don't like basketball, and even I would go, what's it, a lacrosse game? I'll stay here.
I think this is the weird thing, is that while we've praised this up and down, and it's a really well done show, it didn't connect with me. Like, I don't think I'm going to watch the rest of it.
It did with me. Lisa and I tore through the first 3, and we're sad there wasn't a 4th.
I'm wondering how much of it is the gloss of this worked way better than I thought it did.
Yeah.
If that will wear off eventually, and I'll be stuck with just a regular kind of drama.
Yeah, I feel like in season 2, this is just going to be All American or Snowfall. Like this, because it's the John Singleton story a little bit. Only he's not having to go back home to Philly every weekend.
I also like there's some subtle stuff followed by some unsubtle stuff that I feel is not so great. Because there was the pool thing is a great... Carlton gets super jealous because the one guy is even talking to his ex-girlfriend like a little douche that he is. Pushes Will into the pool because he thinks, whatever, Will just get out, because what kid doesn't know how to swim?
Will can't fucking swim.
Because he grew up in a neighborhood where you just learn how to swim, you take swimming lessons, that's it. In West Philadelphia, his parents probably couldn't afford to give him swimming lessons. They probably don't even know where a fucking pool is. So he's never learned how to swim. Almost kills him because of his privilege at that point. And I'm like, oh, that's very smart. And then when Will is in the water, he sees a crown up above him.
Throne in the crown, yeah.
And I was like, okay,
he's the Fresh Prince, Nick.
You had such a subtle message there that really worked.
He's a prince,
and then
but he's
you
so fresh.
Shot me in the face.
Yeah.
Princes have crowns, Nick.
If they could not do some of that, I feel like that would be...
But it's a crown, Nick.
I get it, Les.
Because he's a prince.
I get it.
He's so fresh, though.
Now this is a song all about how my life got flipped, turned up eyebrow. Whoa, what? I didn't mean literally.
Won't take long, just a minute, you see.
We'll tell you how we became Bert and Ernie. Ernie, help! On Sesame Street, born and raised, learning letters, numbers, singing sunny days. Growing up, moving, flying the coop. Said bye-bye to my mommy off to 1, 2, 3 stoop. There I met a grouch who didn't smell too good. Told me to scram, leave the neighborhood. It was then I remembered what my mom used to say.
Keep your head up, be kind, and you'll find your way.
I said hello when I got near. He said,
Oh, what's that? I got a banana in my ear.
wanna be friends who laugh, learn, and share? Ernie pointed to the seat and said,
Sit right there.
Y'all ready to have dessert? Talk about Peacemaker and the Afterparty?
yes!
Sure.
All right. These are my 2 favorite shows right now. Nothing's even close.
I'm so glad
Peacemaker
Peacemaker got a season 2 announcement today.
Me too, because, man, we got one more episode next week, and I can't wait to see where they're going with it.
Are you kidding? DC is like, oh, something's worked. Okay.
Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God.
Unfortunately, we can never do it again. The deal we made with that witch was only for one show.
So yeah, this one had White Dragon.
Stop dragging my heart around.
It had the army of butterflies.
Oh yeah.
It had Adebayo and Harcourt having like a heart-to-heart, which I did not expect.
The character development they do in this episode is so quick, efficient, and smart.
Yeah.
It really shows to me why this show is better than anything DC has ever done, because they can't get across Superman's like mythos in any movie, but I get hardcore after one conversation of
Yeah.
like, it's okay to kill an innocent man that's begging for his life, but not some dude that's on your team. Yeah, he's a fellow soldier. His life matters to me. Oh,
great. I understand the math that Harcourt does now. Great. Like, yeah. Boom.
and it's also like when you work in Black Ops like this, you're gonna have a line somewhere, and it's probably gonna be arbitrary of where you cut the line off.
You have to decide it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The entire fight with Vigilante.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment that Vigilante jumps up in the truck and just fires an automatic weapon at White Dragon, I loved knowing in the moment that he knows that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Like, standing up with that weapon, that gun is not going to stop that armor. And all you're doing is getting him off Peacemaker for a moment and backing him out the door, out the hole he made. But like, I loved knowing that like Vigilante is, the dude has problems, but he is going to stand up in a firefight that you're losing, that has no chance, and he's going to step forward and keep fighting. Like it was such a crazy moment. And then his line he gets off, I clapped. Like I was so happy when
no wrong time to rock.
Later. There's no wrong time to, and he rolls that grenade, and I'm like, that's too close to you, buddy.
Woo!
That's too close. You're still.
I was so worried they killed him.
I was
thought,
too.
oh shit, they just killed Vigilante. And then they did it. They fucking messed with me because they showed him, and he was in bad shape, and he gets in the car, and the car just like rolls off the road. I'm like,
he passes
you fuckers,
out.
You showed him alive, and then you killed him. And no, they did it again. He's still alive. I'm like, you fuckers.
Oh, when they open up the trunk and he has done, this is perfect Vigilante in every episode. They just keep raising the stakes on it. He does a thing that you can tell he's done before for Peacemaker, like he's either said something or brought him a Coke or whatever that has gone over well in the past. This is friendship in the list of friendship things that Vigilante has in his head, and then he does it in the wrong moment, and like, well, now I don't understand. Did you want that or not? Like, he doesn't catch context. And so in any other situation, if he had thought about grabbing all those helmets, it would have absolutely been the right thing to do. Like, buddy, I thought I was helping you.
God, the look on his face is just so perfect. He's like, ooh, I gotta tell you something. And I love that we as viewers know exactly what's going on in that moment.
And he's like, oh, they look expensive.
It's so funny because he gives that look, and you're like, oh shit.
That's a joke that depends on knowing Vigilante as well as we do.
Yeah.
That we wouldn't laugh at that if we didn't have the insight into Vigilante, and we like, oh, I know exactly what he did. Fuck.
That super helpful fuckwit definitely has all of those
also,
tracking devices.
You were telling me this, that his superpower, what really helps him is his psychosis. The lack of emotion and fear going at
because he just runs
White
at shit.
Dragon of like, what makes him a monster in other situations actually is what makes him so effective.
The
jumping onto his back and like, I know you have weak spots in your armor.
And it's not, he's not yelling it in the fight or anything. There's no, he's saying it like bored, like your dad already told you that this was broken and then you did it again. Like he lands on the back and he's like, I told you there are gaps in this armor. It is dumb design. And like, as if he really wants someone to fix it.
Yeah. By the way, their White Dragon was great. Like they did a great job with it. It looks so good.
I was impressed.
It was like, okay, we needed it to be as good as Iron Man for just a couple minutes. and the way that resolves with Peacemaker and his dad, how it really, and when he pulls the gun on him, I'm like, okay, in a James Gunn show, he's gonna pull the trigger on his dad. In another show, they wouldn't.
Yeah,
but he's gonna pull this trigger, and it's gonna be devastating. And even
all
though
those
I knew
white power
coming,
idiots ran up with German Lugers. Rugers or whatever the fuck that gun is.
Where did they even
I love that they had like
some
Nazi replica guns.
Been shooting me with Hitler's gun?
Yeah.
He has a surprising level of like when he's fighting him, like, you killed your brother, like, no, you killed him. You made us fight, you fucking psycho. And I was like, oh, I'm glad that
like
he knows.
If I'm a piece of shit, it's because I listened to you. That was such an amazing fucking. And then when he drops,
I'm a monster because I didn't kill you in your sleep.
Yes.
Yeah.
When he drops to the ground afterwards and is
powerful.
crying, they managed to do. Everybody complains that the MCU undercuts every joke or undercuts serious moments with jokes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't bother me, but I get what they're saying.
Yeah.
They managed here to both give me the really emotional moment of like Peacemaker fucking hitting the ground after shooting his dad.
Yeah.
because his dad's not wrong. It doesn't matter if you kill me here. I'll be with you forever, and fucking shoots him. But
Yeah.
Vigilante looking over at that moment and going, weird time to do your face muscle exercises, dude, but I guess you don't have a jack. I guess you don't get a seriously jacked up face like that without dedication.
Yeah.
And Economos, like, he's crying. Vigilante even does the, like,
crying.
gentle touch. Like,
Yeah.
pat him on the...
Gentle.
Like, dude, you're fucking creepy. Stop it.
Dude, I was so afraid when Eagly got hit.
Oh, I was so mad
man.
I yelled out loud. I was like, Eagly better fucking live. When he's crying and
Yes.
praying over Eagly and it
Yeah.
hugs him
Yeah.
and he gets the photo.
And
my
gets
God.
the photo.
They
Attaboy-
bring back the eagle hug. Like you said, Les, they get the moment.
Yeah.
Adebayo gets to see it too, and it's a big
It's a big moment.
in between.
Well, it's a thing. It's a thing for her. Like she was about
Yeah.
to give up on this whole thing.
I just
and
saw a
she's like,
miracle.
No, this is real. I gotta do. I gotta. Stick
You don't
with
believe
it.
in
Yeah.
miracles, that's on you.
And then, but James Gunn will go like, but I can still get this joke in there, and I'm gonna sneak it in at this very.
He stretches that arm out.
And I'll tell you what, it's because they don't put the picture sound on it, like the snap picture.
They don't have
Yeah.
him do
It
the
doesn't
click.
snap.
He's just trying to
Yeah.
get the photo. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
just getting the photo, and they don't hit it. And I'm like, the snap would have been too much, and he knew that. That was perfect. Like no notes. That scene.
Speaking of little jokes that wouldn't work in anybody else's hands, but work here. The veterinarian who gets all fired up and pulls
Oh,
out a
God.
shotgun.
Whatever the case, I'm in.
Hashtag me too.
I guess.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Let's do this shit.
I think you need to calm down.
And it's like,
You need
I'm
to
ready to
calm
go.
down.
And she's like, no, you'll
Hell
die.
yeah.
You're not going with us.
Like, Peacemaker, you can calm down, lady. No, you'll just get killed. Like, yeah, they go from like they go from Vigilante ready to kill them all to tying them to chairs to them holding gun. Like, I just love when the camera
Yep.
swings around
Yep.
and the like rally speech has worked on the hostages.
By the way, that's a total RPG moment too. It's like you rolled a 20 and you even inspired your hostages.
Right.
Yeah, you roll. And yeah, like, hey, are you in the opening sequence? I don't think so. You're not coming. And yeah, Vigilante is like, well, we shouldn't put duct tape, or we should make sure we don't duct tape
Speaking
up
of weird
because we don't
lines.
want to.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's like, and again, a fucking arbitrary moral line
Yeah.
of like, wait, you were gung ho about killing them a minute ago. I'm like, yeah, but then they wouldn't have felt the duct tape at that point.
He's like, I don't want them to suffer. Yeah. They dead or no dead, but I don't want them to suffer. Yeah. Speaking of opening sequence, guys, Judo Master is off having his own show.
When he kicks the fuck out of those two guys in the fucking parking lot.
Where's Judo Master?
Was he supposed to be
can't
here?
worry about it now, and just take off.
I don't know where he's going to come in because he said something about the butterflies. He's like, they're not what you think. Like, does he know something? Is he going to come in?
He was working
and
with
be
them.
on their side? Like, what is going to happen?
So
here?
if he's still human, he was working with them. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm wondering
I
if
don't know
Judo
what his-
Master's human or butterfly. I would think he'd have to
Yeah.
be butterfly.
I think he must be human because he
But I
doesn't.
don't know.
Butterflies don't act that human.
That's
yeah,
true.
I don't think
That's
he's
true,
a
and that
butterfly.
gunshot wouldn't have fucked him up
Yeah.
nearly
Yeah,
as bad.
and what's it? Damn it, Merv. When he
Mern.
gets
Yeah,
hit in this
yeah,
episode,
Mern.
like,
Yeah.
Oh my
and
god,
he dies like
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah.
actually made me like sad about them crushing that fucking butterfly, dude.
Yeah.
What the
yeah,
shit?
It was impressive. Yeah.
I cared about Mern.
Because they built it up like, hey, guess what? You care about this. You didn't know
Yeah.
you did.
you didn't know you
But
did.
you do.
Yeah.
And it showed just again a small character moment where the main whatever the main butterfly's name is that's inside the
Goff.
detective, the chick detective,
Right. Yeah.
like crushes him. One of them goes, "You murdered him."
That was a great
Yeah.
moment. They're not a
Yeah.
monolith. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
like you can kill
They
humans.
have this weird moral line. They're a complex group of people that are
Right.
like,
Yeah, her second in command is like that. That's one of us though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I loved that.
he has the same line as Harcourt.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that bums me out about the Peacemaker is that this show is so good and the Suicide Squad was not this good.
No, that movie was not nearly this good.
I don't know why it couldn't click the same way. Because this is exactly what it was supposed to be.
I don't know. Maybe he actually has more. Maybe because Gunn has to work with more people on a TV show.
Yeah.
Like there's just more production people to work with and more input.
yeah.
Because Suicide Squad did feel like pure Gun. Like he
It
didn't
did,
have
it
anyone
did, yeah.
telling him.
But this hits its beats so solidly
Yeah.
that it's undeniable. Like, you will feel this.
Yeah.
I don't know why it works so much better, but it for sure does.
It absolutely does. All right, let's jump over and talk about the Afterparty on Apple Plus, which we actually got 2 episodes to talk about because we didn't talk about this last week. There was the Ilana Glazer episode, which was sort of a
even down to the title card of the Afterparty on or whatever. They gave it a girl on a train kind of vibe.
Which is funny. Funny you mentioned that because I felt like this was a better version of what they wanted to do with that woman in the window. They had 10 episodes to do that, and they did it better in 30 minutes.
Yes, I felt that too.
It's I think I watched The Woman in the Window after I watched that episode, or maybe it was the other way around, but I do remember feeling like, oh, wait a minute, didn't I just watch this, but worse?
Yeah, like they had 10 episodes to do it, and they couldn't do it. Here, it's perfect. Now, part of this also, we have some stuff built up from the previous episodes, so we're seeing it from a different point of view. But the bit where Anik realizes he got roofied by cat tranquilizers just about killed me.
Oh,
he's listening in, he's like, what the fuck?
And you're kind of a lightweight, dude.
and then when they start looking for him and he's there and there's nothing he can do about it.
He keeps getting bored listening and like hitting the cymbals and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, some character stuff that they do where everyone else just assumes she was drunk, even though in her story they have no reason to suspect that.
Yeah.
But Anik didn't assume that. She actually did act drunk when he talked with when she talked with him. So Anik is a person that might not have thought she was just drunk just because of a previous interaction like years ago.
Yeah, because she really faked it so she could talk to the friend whose husband she cheated with.
Okay, so that's why his story included that.
Every episode of this, they give us a little more, not just turning the POV, but they give us a little clue that reframes how everything goes. So like the realization that she had an affair with that dude, and that affects all 3 of those characters in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And it explains so much about the behavior of them that now you can go back and rewatch it. Like every time I watch this, I kind of want to watch every episode again.
Yeah. Rewatching this when it's done will be a blast.
This is the difference between good Rashomon stories and bad Rashomon stories.
Yes, exactly.
The good, like the good ones, really will take it into where the person telling the story will reveal not only their perspective, but actually will reveal more about the other people's perspective.
Yes,
more, not just. Sometimes when people do this badly, it'll just be like it'll erase whatever the previous person said.
Yeah,
and be like, okay, they were just lying, or they had it completely wrong, and their story doesn't matter.
These aren't getting realer each episode.
Everyone's story from their perspective matters, but also they're all wrong in a certain way that makes the other person's story matter as well.
There's also great stuff that each one reveals something that happened in a way like the first episode. The second episode reveals why the slideshow was the way it was, and it works, and that makes a different joke. And then the third episode reveals that Anik was not drinking flaming Jello shots, but was in fact swallowing candles. Like that is a next level joke. That is so good.
Well, so when that happened, Lisa looked over and was like, "I've been trying to figure out what in the fuck a flaming Jello shot is, because I don't think I've ever had one of those. Like I don't think that's a thing."
And it turns out if you had enough cat tranquilizers, it's a candle.
Also, should we pump Anik's stomach? That seems concerning.
It seems concerning.
Anik has had a bad night. He's had a bunch of drinks, a candle, and some cat tranquilizers.
Well, I'm a little bit worried about them doing this because they do a jump back episode, and I know Nick hates those as on principle. But the final, like, all right, somebody's got to tell us what happened at this fucking St. Patrick's Day party y'all keep talking about.
No.
And like finding out that like when Anik keeps saying like, how does this happen to me again? And like, oh god, dude, what the fuck? And then the St. Patrick's being, I love that Walt gets a Walt episode, but he doesn't matter enough to be interviewed.
By the way, did you Walt is literally named Walt Butler. If Walt didn't do it, that's the best red herring ever.
The art film girl looks up and like, oh yes,
the butler. Yes. Oh man,
like, you still don't know who the fuck he is. It was at his house.
Yes,
and they all think it's Brett's house.
They showed her at the end too, because he doesn't have a story about her at all. Because I just saw her on the lawn at the end of it. I'm like, oh right, yeah, she is there.
I feel bad. I feel bad for they did a good job of making me feel bad for Walt because man, that poor guy, all he wanted was to be fucking noticed.
Yeah, and they're really setting me up to think he's going to be the psycho, but I don't think he is.
I don't think he is either. I think it's a red herring.
I feel bad for him, but I also like, oh, I knew guys like that in high school, or I knew a specific guy like that.
Yeah.
And I even tried to be friends with them sometimes, but they're invisible.
You can't save him.
Once they leave your sight, they don't exist anymore.
There's a scene where he's standing behind two of the girls in the kitchen and he's trying to get in the conversation.
Yes.
And you can see him doing the like, and I've done that at parties and like,
I've done that
it
at parties.
hurts so
100%,
bad.
yeah.
Like seeing that and like, oh God, you just filmed a fucking high school party.
You don't like seeing it from that angle.
No,
it hurt. Not. It hurt. I felt very called out.
And then, like, what was it? I hear the party's at Brett's house. Like, actually, it's at my house. I'm sorry, creep much? God, I feel so fucking violent. Trying to tell him, like, no, it's at my house.
I love Tia Serkar. I loved her in The Good Place, but she has found her calling playing like a modern day Heather. Like, she is such the bitchy mean girl here. It's perfect.
And when they went back into high school, I'm like, the Jennifers, I'm like, okay, so these bitches watched Heathers.
Yeah.
And decided that was their identity.
Yep. Also, by the way, I gotta say, their youngening like hairstyle and costume stuff, they did a pretty good job making them look like high school kids and not just making it a joke. Like, it was clearly a joke that we're watching all these 30-somethings play high school kids. But I was like, they do look younger here. They did a good job with that.
Yeah, I thought they did a pretty good job.
It helps that Dave Franco already looks like a child that's trying to be taken seriously.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I've been saying since the outset that we're going to find out that Eugene's not the big douchebag that everybody thinks he is. And this is the first look at this, that basically he was like the nerdy dude and Anik treated him like shit.
He kind of is.
He decides to become the douchebag, but he wasn't that to start with.
Yeah.
He consciously decides to be that. But
well, he's not the one that breaks up Scape Diem.
No.
He's not.
No.
Nope. And here's
fucking
the thing.
Ben Schwartz is being a total
totally
dick.
lied about that.
I don't think he's gonna. I think when we get more perspective, somehow we're gonna see that he was not the douchebag. Even now, everybody was making him out to be. When Chloe tells her story, I bet. Although it sounds like she's gonna do something bad.
Well, like honestly, even the shit that happens to Anik at the St. Patrick's Day party.
Yeah.
Man, you were the villain of this high school fucking movie. Like, Anik is such a dick in high school to Eugene, and like whatever Eugene, and like I remember being like, kids are assholes. Like you know, there's all kinds of stuff in school that like, why would you stop somebody from just wearing a shirt or whatever? And like, kids are dicks.
Yeah.
And so like watching it all felt very true, but also when he was like, fuck you, Eugene, and like walks off and like, even though that was a little beyond the pale, you knew he was about to do it. I was like, man, this
Xander,
totally
bitch.
Tracks. Yeah, it's Xavier, bitch.
Yeah.
And also I just got your fucking spot in Princeton.
That's the moment he became Xavier.
Yeah.
You created your own villain because him getting taken away by the cops, like, of course, the rich kid doesn't get taken away, but I'm also like, but also you beat a car up with a fucking baseball bat, you actually broke a law.
Yeah.
So,
like, you fully fucking did that, and everybody watched you find that stranger in the Alps, man. Like, there's no, it's equivocal, like, you probably should be arrested, and like, I could lose my scholarship. Probably should have thought about that before you fucking tuned up his car, man. Yeah.
Also, you're punishing the person that like you think is responsible for you losing your girlfriend.
Yep.
And it's not even the other dude's fault that's macking on her. It's your fucking fault, you dipshit.
Also, I loved when they jumped back and having now heard, because Walt wanted that story told in front of everybody. Chloe now knows that it's Chloe. It's Zoe. It's Zoe. Zoe knows now that her husband lied about their entire, like, she is so pissed, next level pissed.
Her entire relationship is a lie.
Is built on a bullshit. Yeah, somebody else's mixtape CD and all. Yeah,
and not just like she married this dude. That's the father of her kid. He is in her life forever on a fucking lie.
Yeah.
Anik was like, I'm like, Anik, if the next day you went over and explained to her what the fuck happened, none of this would have mattered.
But I think Anik was busy at that point. Anik was busy being arrested and shit.
Probably.
Like that was less a concern. Yeah.
Not even just the day after, but any time after. Like,
but no, you can tell Anik accepted.
Really
Anik accepted, or some part of his brain was like, yeah, that's just what I get.
He accepted that he's a loser.
He's mad at Eugene about it. What he should be mad at Brett.
Yeah.
But he can't be mad
Yeah.
at Brett because Brett's scary and Brett's popular and all that kind of stuff. So he transfers
And he took
to
it out on
someone-
Eugene because he thought Eugene was lesser than him.
which is a bully move. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
He pulls up,
Some
and that's what
innate
Anika's a
energy
bully
right
at
there.
that party. And
Yeah.
Also, I don't want to blame Zoe a lot in this too, but if you couldn't have figured out this guy was a
Yeah.
dipshit before
Brett's a
you
fucking
got
dipshit
pregnant,
douche. It's not even his house.
I'm gonna assume you got pregnant the first time you had sex, like
Yeah.
6 months later after that, or
I
something.
think that-
There's no
I think
way.
that's
There's
probably
no
the
way
case,
Brett
yeah,
waited 6
yeah.
months.
No.
Yeah, right.
no.
Because there's no way he could have kept up this illusion.
They're
Mhm.
high school kids and they're both hot. That's the thing, is that I'm sure that's exactly what happened. They had sex, she got pregnant, and they were together after that. Like,
Yeah.
she probably figured out very quickly that Brett was not who she wanted him to be, but at that point they had a
But
kid.
by then it was
I
too late.
believe
Yeah.
next week is Zoe's, and I think it's
Zoe's
partly at
story.
least animated.
It's animated.
Oh fuck, that's great. I can't wait. We got to the ending. I was watching with Megan because I saved this one for Megan because she really likes it too. And Zoe's like, well, now it's my story. And it cuts to the credits. She's like, well, shit. And I'm like, well, you knew this was going to happen.
I also think it's going to be animated because her story is going to be bullshit because she's totally doing an I'm Spartacus thing of like,
Yeah.
oh no, Anik, you're the one I truly love and you're about to go to jail. Let me stand up and admit to a thing I totally would never
Yeah.
admit to during like having a beef with a murder victim in any other circumstance.
You know what else is great about this? I don't know who did it. And I know it's going to be, I'm sure that they know who did it. It's going to make sense. I don't know who that's going to be. And
It could be
also,
anybody.
the stuff, I don't know who the detective, we're going to get the detective. They keep talking about he's landing in half an hour.
Yeah. It
Like, we're going to
hasn't
get
showed up
whoever
yet.
that is.
Some
other
guest
big
stars
Who do you think it
fucking
is?
kick the door
Yeah.
in. Yeah, I don't know.
and solve
It's
the whole
gotta
thing.
be someone
I
big.
don't know. But the whole Tiffany Haddish, like, that her partner, she's basically keeps trying to somewhat protect him. But then she's dragged him into this. The captain's like, no, he's in this with you. And she's like, oh, okay. Like, at no point does she give him a chance to get out. Like, at no point she's never like, look, man, I fucked up and you need to get out of here so that you don't get dragged into this.
She has an opportunity right after that phone call when he
Yep.
says that and they go like, hey, were you talking to somebody? Who are you
Nope.
talking to?
Nope,
Fuck off,
nope,
let's get out of here.
nope. Yep.
I was
yep,
like, God damn it.
Yeah.
You're going to get this guy fired.
yep. Yeah, it's great.
He's not doing anything wrong.
Man, this show is so good. Like, it's
Yeah.
I'm really, really happy with it. It's not a Lord and Miller, or at least Miller joint, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that does make
between
sense.
between this and Only Murders in the Building, we maybe need more murder comedies, except not like A Woman in the Window.
Right. Yeah, I can't wait to rewatch this once it's all done, just because I think it'll be a blast.
Yeah. Well, I rewatched episodes 1 through 4 with Megan after having watched episode 4, and it was already a ton of fun. So
Yeah.
all right. That wraps it up for the week. Thank you, Les. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Randy.
Thanks, dudes.
Thank you to our listeners. Thank you to our patrons. Reminder, you can go over to patreon.com/tvdudes. Throw us a buck an episode. Listen to us talk about the works of Jan de Bont.
Jan de Flaunt.
Over yonder.
Until next time.
TV Dudes out! The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TVDudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.